Hey, and welcome to the Dangerous Creatives podcast. If you're growing your photography or creative business, you're in the right place. Each week, we deliver a workshop-style solo show, expert interview, or motivating story from our community so you can tune in to find encouragement, motivation, and ideas to help the right people find you and your amazing work. I'm your host, Kristin Sweeting. I'm a photographer and coach, and my favorite thing is helping dangerous creatives just like you stand out in a world that just wants us to blend in. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, we are back with the Dangerous Creatives podcast. I hope you love our new intro from my friend who is the mastermind behind Fire Choir. She's just amazing, Marie Hines. Thanks for our new intro music. And if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, you might also notice we now are having a video podcast. So those are some fun updates from our time away. We're going to be introducing video to this show. We have some new music. We're still going to be creating some great interviews, workshops. We'll have a few coaching people on to do live coaching sessions. It's going to be an epic season. And thanks for your patience while I took a little break. When I originally stepped away, I was doing my winter sabbatical, was taking like holiday time. But I've been trying to be a lot more aware of when something feels like the right timing, where my energy is flowing, and really trusting that where my excitement is where I'm supposed to be focusing. And so really for the first quarter of the year, I just was not feeling the inspiration flowing with this podcast. And so I've been focusing my energy into some other things. We have a great mastermind that we're running this year, all year, this epic group. We've already had multiple retreats and in-person things and tons of Zoom calls and one-on-ones. And it's been such a joy to work with this group of really, really talented photographers and creatives. It's something I just look forward to running every single year. And each new group just has a different energy and a really cool presence. And so that has been very fun, something I've been putting a lot of my time into. I also have my own wedding clients still. And so I had a couple large weddings and also had the opportunity to photograph. This was like a bucket list thing for me, guys. You know how I talk about manifesting dream opportunities a lot, or setting intentions and creating a vision for what you want from your creative business. This was something that it felt like that for me, like I had put it on vision boards, or I had thought about opportunities like this for a long time. And so I got to fly to London and photograph a really, really beautiful bridal fashion line show in Kensington Palace. And it was so much fun. I mean, bridal fashion is so fun to photograph because it's just like a big personal shoot sometimes. There's models and beautiful dresses and jewelry and beautiful spaces. And so this was just such a fun opportunity. I saw a lot of you at Hybrid where I got to speak in February. And so it's been a really busy first quarter of the year. And now as I'm starting to go into a bit of a slower summer, I'm going to spend a month in France and a summer here in Tennessee with a few clients, a few weddings, a few projects. But really I'm excited to have a slow summer, to spend a lot of time with my son while he's taking a break from school for the summer. And I don't know, we are excited to break the kayaks back out too. So that's a little update from me and from what to expect from this podcast for the next season. I also think it might not be every week right now. There's some other goals that I have that I'm really excited about. And so for a while, it might be every other week. You might get some bonus episodes here and there when I'm feeling really inspired and when there's a couple things to put out. I want it to be a little bit more in the moment, free flowing, to go where my energy is going, and to kind of trust the process with that too. So that's just a little update on me and on us. I also launched my Substack over the last couple of weeks, and that has been a really fun medium to be writing and a little bit more of a personal blog, a personal newsletter, going a little deeper into some things that I'm passionate about talking about or sharing about. Because I think, you probably understand this too, or maybe feel this sometimes, like there's more that I want to say than just in an Instagram post, or you can't always give the full context of something, and a little sound bite might be upsetting to someone or triggering to someone. But if you can give a lot more of the full context behind a story or behind a lesson or whatever, you can bring more nuance to the conversation. So there's things about creativity, homeschooling, travel, about design and business. One of the Substacks that is probably coming soon is a little bit more of an income breakdown where, I love transparency. And again, I've been a little burned by being too transparent on Instagram, but I think inside of kind of a private community, transparency can be so helpful. And I have found transparency so helpful. And when people are able to share a little bit of like, what does that actually look like? How did you actually get that opportunity? What challenges got in the way on this path? I think it feels like we're all in it together. We're all kind of going through the same thing, and we can kind of like link arms together and solve problems together. And I think it like helps us not feel so alone, both on the writing side and on the reading side. I know when I read a little bit more about someone's story or journey, I connect with them more. But then also from the writing side, I'm just finding so much creative flow in that medium right now. So if you're a Substack person, would love to see you there. I'll link it in the bio too, or in the show notes of this too. There's a bunch of stuff I write for free, and then a few things that will be like slightly hidden behind the little subscription option as well. So yeah, that is us. Well, today I'm not just going to give updates. I've been thinking a lot about creativity, about mindset, about doing things a little differently. And a lot of the conversations that I've been having offline with people really have boiled down to this like craving for something deeper than what we're seeing online in our industry. People are wanting these like deeper conversations. They're wanting fulfillment in a different way. And maybe like some frustration with consumeristic take it's so easy to fall into with our craft and with our creativity. I just always come back so much to the mindset side of things and to this like bigger picture of what we're doing in the world, of making connections with people. And that abundance really isn't just how much money we're making or how much validation we're getting from our peers or how big of an audience we have or how many weddings we have booked. But abundance really is seeing all the different little pieces of beauty that we have around us. I started gardening more this year. I've done it years in the past, but this year I just feel like I want to grow so much food, kind of to a ridiculous level. We have all these garden boxes, and oh my gosh, if these things all grow, I'm going to have more cucumbers than I know what to do with. But seeing the little plants sprouting out of the ground, seeing the winter turning into spring, I just love to go outside and look around and be like, we have so many beautiful things. And when I get lost in comparison, or when I get lost in like I'm not doing good enough, or I should be farther along, or any of those things, I think a lot of us fall into these negative mindset traps. I just go outside and look at the beauty of nature, and that it's not always the same either. Like nature is constantly changing. There's things sprouting, there's things growing, there's things dying, there's all this metamorphosis happening. And I think when we can trust the process with ourselves too and enjoy the little things along the way, it just makes our path so much lighter and not so heavy, and not so like we don't have so much suffering attached to it. So, if you're in a season right now where either you're discouraged or you're not booking what you want to be booking, I just want to encourage you to open up your perspective beyond the narrow view you might be taking. So for example, for a long time, my success was so attached to how many weddings I had booked for a year. It was like, well, my friend has 20 booked and I only have 10 and I feel bad about it. How am I supposed to call myself a professional photographer or whatever? And I used to really, really take that number as something that like, oh, how many do you have? How many do you have? And it's interesting that we do that to ourselves because a number of weddings doesn't really communicate a whole lot at all financially or artistically or really anything. And yet we put so much pressure on ourselves for a specific number. And so if I was at this place in the year, like we are right now in April, May, and I didn't have the number I wanted for the year, I really would go on a journey. I would go on a very critical journey of myself and how my business was going to fail. And I was really feeling bad about myself. And a practice that I've put into place is to create more little ways for finances to flow into me, for creativity to flow into me, for me to have a little bit more control over different aspects of my business, and kind of like viewing different knobs that I can turn on and off. Like I have these different taps, I can turn the knob and something comes from this one direction. And if really the flow of energy from weddings is not happening, I have something else that I can turn the knob and flow in there. And so I think instead of being like, it has to be this or nothing, think about what are some of your skills? What are some of your passions and interests? Are there other things that you've been like, no, not that. That's not for me. It has to be this. It has to be weddings. It has to be coaching. It has to be whatever you're telling yourself that it has to be. And like open up to what is trying to come to you. I know that sounds whatever, but I'm a little woo-woo. You're a little woo-woo if you're listening to this. So let's go with it. But like what knobs can we turn so that there's more options of things to come to us? Because beautiful things are trying to make their way to you right now, and they're all around us. And when we are looking for beautiful things, we see more of them. Have you ever walked into a room and you kind of tuned out the whole room? Like you walked in, you were stressed or you were overwhelmed or you were anxious or you were just looking for this one person, and you totally blazed past 4 other people that you would have been cool to talk to, or you didn't notice the beautiful chandelier on the ceiling, or like all these things you didn't notice because you were so single-minded in that search for that one person or that one thing. And it's really a practice in life and in creativity and in our businesses to try not to let ourselves get in that fixed mindset where there's one thing that we're looking for, and to open up to what is trying to come in, to open up to possibilities that might be right there and we're not seeing them because we're like looking so hard for this one thing. I mean, that's true of people and opportunities and things too. I think one of the best practices if you're trying to get better at networking is to walk into a room and be really open and be like, who am I supposed to meet today? Instead of how a lot of times how we go in, either if someone doesn't come up to me, then this was bullshit or whatever. Or if I don't talk to this one person, they're a mean girl or they're a mean person or whatever. And we go in with such a fixed idea of what success in that room is going to be. But when we go in open of like, there's someone here that I'm supposed to talk to, there's something here for me, and we kind of look for that and try to connect with that, there's magic things that happen all the time because we are open to them. So I hope that that's an encouragement to you. If you are feeling stuck, if you're feeling like it's hard to get out of that fixed mindset, do some practice. Do some practice around openness, some practice around seeing abundance in a bunch of different ways and not just in one. And I was talking a little bit about the flow with this podcast and kind of flowing in and out of energy with it, for it, finding different ways to relate to it. The more we kind of get used to what that feels like when we're inspired by something and trusting it, the more things will kind of naturally flow in and out at the right time. And we don't feel like we're forcing things quite so much. I wrote this a long time ago, and so I'm just going to read it. I said, having a business that flows doesn't mean that stuff is always going to come easily. Growth isn't comfortable, and consistency takes a lot of practice. There's a lot of deprogramming, personal boundaries, and healing that goes into getting in flow. And it's not always sunshine and butterflies. Flow does mean that when you stay lined up with what you're passionate about and what is important to you and choose not to compare yourself to other paths, that hard work will be more fun and won't be as painful. Abundance does not mean going out and buying a bunch of things you can't afford so that you trick the universe into sending you more things. That's not manifestation, and it can set you back even farther. But abundance does mean seeing gifts in all the little things around you, spending time with friends, taking naps, trusting that you have all the tools you need to succeed, being bold and putting yourself out there, eating nurturing foods, pricing sustainably, investing in yourself and your business and your future wisely, asking for support, prioritizing mental health, showing up grounded and growing. What both of these things really are, flow and abundance, is about trust. Trusting yourself that you are capable of doing the things you set out to do. Trusting that you'll know when it's time to change directions. Trusting that you will be able to find the tools, people, and strategies to help you as you grow. Trusting your past decisions, like the investment you made in yourself when you took out those student loans, or the choices you made at the time that maybe you're paying for now, but they got you to where you are today. And trusting that as you hone your intuition and heal, you'll be able to see what opportunities are meant for you and which ones aren't. And I'm so glad there are so many resources on mindset and spirituality that aren't making it like a magic wand, but are helping us be patient with ourselves and growing in our own courage. So I hope that is encouraging to you. Even though I wrote it years ago, it was encouraging to me reading it back that really so much of our own journey is in trusting ourselves and trusting the process and taking those bold moves when they feel exciting and inspiring, and not because we're scared or not because someone else told us we should do it or because so-and-so did it and, you can't let them win. And yeah, seeing ourselves a lot more like a garden and a lot less like a race. So I am so glad that you're here. Thank you again for listening. Can't wait for all the interviews that are coming for you to listen to. And always reach out when you want to chat. I'm Kristin Sweeting on Instagram, and this is the Dangerous Creatives Podcast. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Dangerous Creatives Podcast. Check out dangerschool.com to join our community and support the show. Thanks to our team, Jen Madigan Creative, for producing, and to Fire Choir for our intro music. Tune in again next time, and thanks for your support.